Hello, my name is Father Mitchell Bechtold. I'm a priest of the Diocese of Saint Cloud. A couple of years back, the Diocese of Saint Cloud began an effort to digitize their Catholic newspaper. Now, this began in 1938, quite formally, under the name of the St. Cloud Register, and eventually changed into the St. Cloud Visitor, which is what it was up until the year of 2018, when the Central Minnesota Catholic was begun. And so this effort basically wanted to not only digitize the newspaper so that it was available and preserved for all generations, regardless of the quality of the newspaper over time, but that it could be made available online in a searchable format, both for diocesan staff and also to Catholics all around the diocese and those who grew up here and those historians that find interest in these articles. And so with the help of the Minnesota Historical Society and using their platform called the Digital Newspaper Hub, these newspapers are now available to you. And today I'm going to show you the website where you can find it, how you can find the newspaper very specifically, and how to navigate the website to have the most constructive search results for your interests. So let's go ahead and jump on in. So you'll notice here the Minnesota Digital Newspaper Hub can be found quite easily with a simple Google search. If you're going that way, you just type in Minnesota Digital Newspaper Hub, click and follow. Now you can also go straight to their website, mnhs.org/newspapers/hub. I think that's a backslash, maybe it's a forward slash, I don't know. Let's keep going. So once you get to the page, then you go ahead and scroll on down to search the newspapers. This, of course, the main page explains what they're about, why this is here and why it exists. But when we get on in, what you'll find is that clicking up to the top left under title, there are a lot of newspapers. My understanding is that these are all historical newspapers that have been printed in the state of Minnesota over the course of many years. You have the Fergus Falls Ugelblad, you have the Free Press, you have the Freeborn County Standard, and the list goes on. There's just so much history here to be found. Well, if you scroll down far enough, what you will find under ST is you will find St. Cloud Visitor, and it should be, actually, when it's on the browse issues, it's going to be the St. Cloud Visitor. So let's keep on scrolling. The St. Cloud Visitor. Lots of those. Here we go. Fantastic. So we get to the St. Cloud Visitor. Now if I click this, what will happen is it will open up all of the occasions of the St. Cloud Visitor. Basically every print that we have uploaded at this time. You'll notice right here where I'm pointing, it says issues 1 of 50. Out of 2,409 different weeks of print. Now, say for example, you scroll to the bottom, and that's just not as many results as you're looking for. You can amend it by displaying up to 500, basically whatever your internet speed will allow. Right now, it's going by date, so May 1st, 1955, May 8th, and so on and so forth. Say, for example, you want to go by publication date and not by title. Well, then you'll go like this. And should produce the same result at this point. But when it comes to the search engine, and we'll get to that in a little bit, that will look a little different. Now, one thing to know about this is that, so if I click on title here, it has the St. Cloud Visitor, but I want the St. Cloud Register as well. So how am I going to do that? Well, let's go ahead and unclick here, and then we're going to go to the All section, okay? I'm going to unclick All. I'm going to scroll on down. Now, it's a little confusing here because now under this title, under this selection, it's not the St. Cloud Visitor, it is St. Cloud Visitor, and Visitor, T-O-R, and St. Cloud Register. Once you've clicked both, you go ahead and click off that drag that drop menu, and now you have all of it available to you. I go to publication date, and what we have is starting with January 7th, 1949, we have this first St. Cloud Register. If I click on this, it then opens and I can begin to navigate the page. Now, with some insistence, I thought it would be a really good thing to go ahead and have this available in its original color format. There's black and white newspapers you can find out there, but it's kind of cool to be able to see the page for what it is. So that being said, it does get to be a little bit problematic. So maybe you want to look at it a little differently. Well, you can actually click on grayscale. You click on this little sun up here in the top right corner, and you click on grayscale, and then all of a sudden it turns it black and white, maybe making it a little bit easier for you. You can adjust the brightness. Maybe you want it darker, maybe you want it brighter. And that's all something that you can do. You can adjust the contrast, making it more readable according to your eyesight. So we'll go ahead and turn it back to its original color right here. Now, one thing that I've enjoyed doing, and I would encourage any one of you to do, say, any one of us, we can scroll through the internet, whether it's news or whether it's videos or social media. Just even spending some time scrolling through these newspapers can be really quite fun. So here's one, for example. Poor Clares for 50 years. And this was a unique opportunity where Mass was offered in the cloister over at the Poor Clares, and this was the first time in 25 years that it was able to be done. Now, I want to zoom in on this a little bit, so I'm going to go down to the center of the page here, hit zoom, grab the page, pull it over, and now it can say right here, for the first time in the 25-year history of the Poor Clare Monastery here, Mass was offered within the cloister proper and was attended by a group of priests, sisters from 3 other convents, and 2 of the laity. I mean, what a unique and blessed opportunity that was for that bishop, for those priests, and for those sisters who have been a mainstay here in the Diocese of Saint Cloud. And you can just keep on going down, and it's surprising the things you find from, donations to the pre-seminary fund to nativity scenes. Now, when I'm ready to move to the next page, I click over to the left here, number 2, and it brings me to the next page, number 3, so on and so forth. And now, say for example, you find something that you really like. There's something on the page here you just have to capture. You see it says, Poor Clare Nun honored on Jubilee. And you say, I want to capture that. I want to be able to save this page to be able to share on Facebook or to share with family or friends. There's a couple of ways to do this. Down in the bottom of the page here in the middle, you can hit the plus button to add page to print bundle. So I click this, add page to print bundle, and that will take the whole page and basically drop it into what will then be a downloadable PDF with 1 or more pages that you can then print off later. But say, for example, and the benefit of that really is that it'll show you the date on which it is, because in the top right corner here where it says Friday, January 7th, 1949, you'll be able to see that. But say, for example, you don't need that. You just want the section. So you take this little scissors icon, add selection to print bundle, bring your crosshairs up here, click, and drag, and it grabs that selection. Now, if I slide over to the download print bundle PDF right here, it has downloaded it, and there it is. Totally searchable, totally findable. Now, one thing to know, and we'll see this in a moment, is that the newspapers are searchable when they're on the internet. When you download them as a PDF, you would have to apply optical character recognition software. If you don't know what it is, it's fine. But basically, to make these words searchable, and to be able to highlight words. But let's go ahead and get back to where we were. Now, you've grabbed pages you don't want to. You can go ahead and click this trash can to clear print bundle, and we can start fresh right on over again. Now, there are other little tools down here, rotate page, things like that. That's all been done for you, hopefully, at this point, so you shouldn't have to rotate any of the pages. They should all be available for you in the right format, the right direction, right away. All right, maybe, let's go ahead and switch on over. We're going to click back here, and we're going to switch gears. Let's go ahead and go over to the search feature, and this is where it really gets quite fun. So if I click on search, again, I unclick all, and I go down to Saint Cloud Visitor, Again, for some reason here it's St. Cloud Visitor, not the St. Cloud Visitor and not the St. Cloud Register. And I want to type in a name. I want to type in a word, whatever it might be. So there was a word that I saw come up quite a bit while I was searching, and that was sodality. Okay, well, let's take a look at sodality. Okay, sodality, and it even gives me some suggestions of what we might find. I click that, and it will bring up for me every occasion where it says sodality. Now, it's bringing up according to relevance in this first result. Relevance, meaning it happens a lot, or it happens with a particular emphasis. When I click on this, not only does it open the document, but it actually highlights and brings me to the page where it says sodality, which is great. Now, with this yellow color, it can make it kind of difficult to actually see the words. So we're going to go ahead and click Change Highlight Color, and you can change it to any color you want. I like to choose blue. Go ahead and click that, and there you go. And you can find every occasion. If there's an easier way to zoom on the page, I don't know what it is yet, but then you go right here, and you can find every place where it says sodality. And you can even take it further. Like right here, it says World Sodality Congress. Well, you can head on back and search that up so that you're searching that key phrase. In fact, let's try it once here. World Sodality Congress. And what you might find is that this was actually more common than you even knew. So that it actually only appears 7 different times. And 1959 is where it occurs most relevantly, most commonly, that is. Scroll on down. There you are, World Sodality Congress. All right, so we're going to go back to the sodality, but actually let's change things up a little bit. We're going to go type in 5 generations. This was another thing I found that was quite fun, is you had a number of occasions where you had 5 generations of a family and they wanted to highlight them. They wanted to emphasize that. And so they would get a picture of these 5 generations together. Again, searching it based on relevance, we click here. And what we find is you have a picture. And here it is, let's see, of the on the 100th birthday of Joseph Westrop of Assumption Parish in Eden Valley. And you have his 5-generation photo here shown. And say, for example, you want to, I'm going to switch this over to the blue again. Easier for me. Choose what works for you. What you can do then, if you want to keep on going in this, is rather than going back, using the back arrow and clicking open a different document, you just click this arrow, and it brings you to the next occurrence. Let's go ahead and zoom on out. There we go. We have another occurrence of 5 generations. Another occurrence of 5 generations, and it will take you through all of these. The downside of clicking back and opening it up, a different document, if you've changed the highlight color, is that it will go back to its default color. Whereas if you change the color and then keep clicking forward, it will stay that blue or red or green color, whichever it is that you choose. So we've talked a little bit about relevance. Let's now break into some of these other options. You want to change it by title or publication date. I found it useful to go by publication date. I want to see what was the earliest time that it mentioned 5 generations, and we see here July 22nd, 1949. I click here, brings me right to the page, and what do we find? Is we have a photo of Mr. and Mrs. Ben Beckers in their home in Freeport, and it's a 5-generation photo of that family. I mean, the history that's to be found in here, I'm going to misquote it, but something like the newspaper is the world's first take at history. It's their first commentary on history, and how perfectly described then, because this is a historical document. This is, in a sense, our family history as a Catholic family of faith here in the Diocese of Saint Cloud. All right, let's see if there's anything else that I've wanted to include. Say, for example, you want to be very, very specific. So I want to search 5 generations, but I want to know if there are 5 generations in my hometown. So I'm out here at Christ the King in Browerville and in Clarissa, Minnesota at St. Joseph's. So what I'm going to search for is 5 Generations and Browerville, 5 Generations and Clarissa. And I want to be able to find both of these. Let's see what happens, huh? Well, it seems that we have one occasion right here, and then we're actually going to go back, because I'm going to try or. All right. Here we've got some more occasions where it appears, and in this case, Sacred Heart Parish in Dent. See, this is where it gets a little bit tricky, because in this case, it means that Browerville and Clarissa are in the document, but maybe not right next to what it is that you're actually searching. This is, I guess, most helpful when it comes to names. Let's go ahead and remove these search terms. And I'm just going to use my own name for this occasion. Type in Bechtold and type in search. Now, say, for example, I want to search Bechtolds, and I know that LeMay Bechtold has been just a very dedicated Catholic for so many years. She was a dedicated Catholic here in the Diocese of Saint Cloud, and I just know she's, when I search Bechtolds, it's LeMay, 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 LeMay. No offense to LeMay. I'm going to actually click not LeMay, because that will help narrow the search result if, say, for example, I wanted to find any other Bechtolds besides LeMay. And if I click it, what I find is that there are still 387 search results. And so I'm narrowing it down. Say, for example, I want to find Bechtold and I want to find Luxembourg, which is where I grew up. Well, then I click search, and it narrows it down even more to 59. And the list goes on of all the ways that you can specify your search so that you can get really the exact search results that you're looking for. Well, I think that pretty well describes it. What I would say is you're going to have the most fun by just playing around with it, playing around with the search engine yourself, and letting it, I guess, help you discover what there is to be found in here. One thing that I intend to include in the link description here on this video is a list of search terms that you can use if you just want to get your feet wet, if you just want to see what are some things you can follow. So, for example, some search words that I found were things like Gregorian, things like sodality, pre-seminary fun. You can search valedictorian. You can search alumni. You can search for solemn communion. You can search First Holy Communion. You can search confirmation. You can search the names of bishops, and you can search the names of maybe some of your favorite priests, or even your home parish. The list goes on and on and on. In fact, there's so many words that you would never even think to search in here that sometimes the best way to find them is just start browsing. So, all that to be said, there's a number of people I want to thank. I want to thank Bishop Donald Kettler, Bishop Emeritus of the Diocese of Saint Cloud, under whose episcopacy this effort began, and the one who really gave his blessing over the beginning of this effort. And I want to thank also Bishop Patrick Neary, who allowed it to continue and to come to its completion. I want to thank a man of many hats in our diocese, Joe Tuwalski, now Chancellor and Chief of Staff for the diocese, but then for Communications Director for the diocese and editor of the Central Minnesota Catholic. He was the one who brought this to the bishop and really helped me hand in hand to keep the ball moving down the court. I want to thank the office of the Central Minnesota Catholic for letting me time and time again barge into their office and steal their newspapers and sorting through and stacking and reshelving the ones that I brought back. I want to thank the many editors and writers and contributors of the Diocese of Saint Cloud newspaper who have basically contributed to this rich written record of the life of the Diocese of Saint Cloud. And really that includes the many men and women who would just call into the office and say, have I got a story for you? Hopefully you're still out there and you're still calling to let them know, because we want to hear it. They want to hear it. I want to thank also in a special way Thane Schultz at Finewood Structures Cabinet Shop here in Browerville, Minnesota. It was really at his shop that I was able to process a lot of these books so that the digitizing effort could continue. And so a special thanks to Thane. And of course, I want to thank all of you, because this is your story. This is the collection of our story of our family of faith here in this local church. And really, the more you use it, the more it validates the importance of this good effort. And so may God bless you, And may God continue to bless the Diocese of St. Cloud, Minnesota.